It's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen by a romping 10.
Boyle Sports has it all. Money back meetings every day. UK and Irish racing live streaming. Extra places and money back all losers offers. And a bet 10 get 40 welcome offer. Boyle Sports, this is betting.
So, hello and welcome back to a belated episode number 13 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. Let's just say there was a virus in the air. Ronan, great to be back, and you, of course, were up at the Dublin Racing Festival. I was a little bit under the weather, but you were up there and you saw it in its full. Great weekend.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Unbelievable 2 days. Really enjoyed them. Good to see you back in the land of the living, Basil. A lot of people asking for you, coming up to me asking, saying, how's Barry? What's the story? No podcast this week. So say hello to y'all, especially sitting beside a guy called Pat Maguire on the way out on the bus out. And was chatting away about the podcast, watches it every week. So fair play to you, Pat, for saying hello. And Pat loves his contingency doubles or his related doubles. He was telling me all the nice ones he has ready for Cheltenham at the moment. So hope you backed a few winners, Pat. And yeah, just generally great racing. Really enjoyed it. Like the atmosphere, Basil, there was something I've never, or I haven't seen in a long time on an Irish race course. It was excellent. Now, there were a few issues and stuff with the bars and stuff like we had last year. Not that bad, but still, not amazing. But the atmosphere on the course, watching the races was, especially on Sunday with Honeysuckle, it was sensational now. So I really enjoyed it. Fair play to them.
Absolutely, and thanks everyone as well just for the well wishes, because lots of people were getting in touch via the comments as well. But we're back, as you said, in the land of the living. Lots to digest, and of course the usual structure, Mr. Groome. It is we are going to be taking a look at 8 performances. Now I know you wanted to take a look at Gala Crow as well, so we might let you come in on her as well. But 8 performances in general. We've included Jerry Kalam in that, and of course the first section of the show is, as always, the Prospect Star ratings.
Download the Boyle Sports app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. Boyle Sports, this is betting.
So, star ratings time, Mr. Groome. We had a couple of suggestions now when you were away in the Alps. This is episode number 13, so just to kind of highlight as well, we are running we're running behind by 1 episode, so we will make sure that we get all the 20 episodes in. Not quite sure. We'll come up to Cheltenham. We might do 2 episodes a week, etc. But we will get in the extra episodes that we have missed. But 20 episodes. Anyone that hasn't updated their portfolio, make sure to get it in the comments. As we, of course, just 5 weeks now, Mr. Groome, to the Cheltenham Festival. This is the star ratings from the DRF, and we've included, as I said, Jerry Kalam. I've taken 4, you've taken 4, and I'm going to let you speak about Gala Crow as well, because we haven't included her in here. But as always, Mr. Groome, I've been more generous than you have. You've taken, of course, Gallop and the Champ. You've taken Gentleman to Me, Jerry Kalam and Goodland. So I'll let you kick it off with your prospects ratings.
Yeah, sure. We should start, I suppose, at the very start with Barry Connell's Goodland. Who kicked off the festival in fine style. What a season Barry Connell's having. A lot of people willing to knock him, seeing as, he's just one of these guys who's turned his hand to training because, he obviously has a lot of money, very successful guy, but he's making a fair fist of this now. 2 Grade 1 winners and only his 3rd full season training. It was sensational. So, look, Goodland, only a maiden hurdler winner, did it really nicely at the track, Christmas. Loved the way he kind of scooted into the front here, led them in this race, stayed strongly up after the last. And I thought he was good value now for his winning margin here. He's only got an entry in the Ballymore. When I was away actually skiing, there's a few lads asking me, they watched the show before, and I was saying he could only run the Ballymore. They're kind of asking, where did you hear that? And that was just, I guess I couldn't really respond to them properly. But Barry was very much of the opinion that the horse is 2.5 miler, kind of more of a speeder type, not a slow horse, as he even said on RTE.
He showed that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he's a live player in that race now. I think he's he's in around the 9-2 mark with BOYLESPORTS. I think he has to have a chance in what's an open year against the likes of Hermaid, Allen, the My Selection, Champ.ie, Gaelic Warrior, like all good horses, but not an amazing horse. And Barry is like he's very confident. He's speaking very shrewdly about his horses, but very confidently as well. He went on luck on Sunday and told everyone to
do the double, did he?
He told him to do the double. Yeah, he said he win the Supreme and the Ballymore. So fair play to him. And look, he's a fair. I think this is a fair horse, and he'll be good over fences next year as well. But definitely a live player for the Ballymore around 92.
Absolutely, 3.5 stars, Mr. Groome. Obviously, his pace won him the day. There's plenty of stayers in there. One that caught my eye in that particular contest. Absolute notions. That's the first Jerry Hannon impression of the episode number 13. Right, Ronan Groome. Next performance. We might head to Sandown. Talk us through. You've given Jerry Calam a 3.5 as well.
Yeah, coming around to Jerry now. Like for me at the start of the season, I said it on the podcast a few times. Gordon was mad about this horse running on soft, but I was down at Gordon's yesterday, and he kind of changed his tone about the horse a bit. Like he's saying, look, maybe soft ground is what he needs over 2.5 miles, but over 3 miles, a decent kind of surface, he's fine. That's what he was kind of saying. Whereas at the start of the season, he was like, we were looking for heavy ground for this horse. We need him to run on soft ground, or he just won't run. But now he's kind of, he did that on good to soft at Sandown on Saturday, and it wasn't a heavy surface at all. There was a bit of give in the ground, but you love the way he picked up, and after he was headed for a second, he really did stay on. 3 miles eventually, I think, is going to be his bag. He's a dual grade 1 winner now over 2.5 miles. I think he's actually winning in spite of that distance, and especially in spite of the ground on Saturday. So if we got softer ground at Cheltenham, he would be even. He would have a bigger chance, but I think he could be fine. Like Gordon's saying now, over the 3 miles in the Brown Advisory, they've obviously got Mighty Potter for the Turners as well. So he's well stacked, Gordon, in those 2 races. And this Jerry Calam is dual grade 1 winner, as they say already. Really good attitude, going to improve going up the trip. Really talented sort, he's unbeaten. So I'll give him a big chance going for the Brown Advisory, and I think he deserves to be favourite.
Yeah, 100%. It was just. It's interesting you say in spite of trip, because you're kind of looking. It's kind of by default, isn't it? He's kept winning, and by default, he's ended up at the top of the market at odds of 9-4 now for the Brown Advisory. He doesn't look the strongest of contests, and obviously there was lots of talk about ground, etc. You just worried, would they send him to Cheltenham at all? By default, it looks like, as you said, Gordon's changed his tune. Anyone on juicy prices, we'll come to Portfolio Spotlight a little bit later on. Jerry Calam looks a massive contender. What is the Brown Advisory? So, congratulations anyone that's got him in at big prices. Just having a look at obviously the rest of the years that you've taken a look at here: Gallopin de Champ and Gentleman de Me. Let's start with Gentleman de Me, because you've given him a 4-star. Danny Mullins from the front. Canny Danny. I must confess, Ronan, I actually backed him.
Back on track, back in business. Yeah,
no point in telling the listeners that now. We had no show on. We had no show before the DRF, but Blue Lord, obviously in second, he's run flat. Gentleman to me has bounced back. Big festivals, JP McManus.
Yeah,
he's landed a big one here.
Yeah, but you know what? He was my first selection for the whole that we put into my portfolio, and he was 14 to 1 shot then off the back of his win at Aintree last season. I just thought he was really good there, and I thought he beat Edwardstone fair and square. I wasn't having this kind of. I was more to the side that he's beating Edwardstone fair and square, not like a jaded Edwardstone towards the end of the season kind of Aintree form that you start doubting. I thought he was very good at Aintree. Gentleman to Me, but his 3 runs this season, I kind of lost faith with him, I have to admit. I was all about I do subscribe to the idea that horses can come back into form at certain times of the year, but he was getting his ground.
His runs so far this season, Ronan, though, prior to obviously the DRF, have been too bad to be true. And they mentioned about the good ground, that the bit of better ground that Leopardstown, Big Gallop and track seem to really suit him.
Yeah, but he wasn't terrible ground when he was running in the Tingle Creek or at Leopardstown. He was bet out the park. He was bet 41 lengths at Leopardstown by Blue Lord at Christmas. It was a shocking run, really.
It's a case of Mr. Berry grabbed the right ankle of Danny Mullins as he was legging him up.
Perhaps, yeah. Well, at least that'd be an explanation. But like, it was, it's a fair turnaround in form. Like, and like for me now, like that activates the impression that he made last season. Like if you take the Everestone, people were thinking he's the horse to beat. After the Clarence House, like Gentleman to Me beat him and had his measure last season in my book. Anyway, I thought he was better than him and arguably the best novice around last season. And like you saw the way he went there, he really travelled well in front. Really like responded to Danny down the back. Like really enjoyed watching him race. Like Danny was asking him every fence and looked like a real good 2 mile chaser. The ones that you see when they go fence to fence like that.
What I thought down the back is exactly as you were saying. Look, he got him into rhythm. It was just absolutely perfect. Danny Mullins on board, firing him into fences. He actually had his own way in front. I mean, there was no one who actually took him on for the lead.
Dunvegan was ahead of him for a good bit, and he only took it up down the back. In fairness, I will take you on there, but but that's what he was fair there. And like maybe you're looking at Champion Chase now, like to him and Edward the G up front. Maybe that's not ideal. He mightn't get his own way there, but he did take a lead off Dunvegan for a while. So, look, he's 9-1 now. Like initially, he went into 5-1 for the Champion Chase. He's been eased out again, by lots of bookmakers. But did
you find the slip in the dustbin? Did you find the slip in the dustbin?
Yeah, slip's alive, all right. Yeah, it's still alive. I had to find out which bookmaker I did it with, but. It's slip as well and truly alive. So look.
And just talk us through Gallop and the Champ, because I suppose the big question and never heard Willie Mullins. So what's the word? He mentioned the press a couple of times and mentioned people are having a go at this horse, and then he mentioned he thinks he'd stay 4 miles. This is obviously after the race, after what he's done. My question, like you were obviously up there. How strong was the race run? Would be the question I'd ask. You've given him a 4-star. Where do you dock him the star here?
Well, I haven't given 5 stars to anyone this season, so I think that you need to save that for sensational performances. But I was actually more impressed with the horse than the general kind of opinion out there was, because going into the race, you're kind of thinking he needs to show us over 3 miles, and he needs to. But he can't be the horse he was last season. And Ruby was just talking about this as well. Like, he can't be that sort of power-packed, attacking fences, getting horses under pressure. That's not sustainable over 3 miles, and definitely not sustainable over 3¼ miles at Cheltenham. So with that review coming into the race, like I thought, like this was ideal from Gallop and the Champ. Like, a really, he was level, fair enough. Yeah, he's level of Fury Road at the last, and Fury Road made a mistake. But you loved the way he picked up, like, was able to just come clear. Then he was nearly showing the power that he had, having settled. Like the fact that he settled early in the race and switched off, he really came to life. Then I thought it was a very good trial. Yeah. I did think it was a really good trial for the Gold Cup. Look, I suppose
looking at my horses that I've rated here. 2 5-star performances. Not that they were 2 sensational performances, Ronan. Stateman and Mighty Potter. I'm going to start with Stateman, because obviously if Constitution Hill wasn't around, I think Stateman would be a moral cert for the champion hurdle. I cannot see anything, certainly in the betting without market. I mean, if anyone's interested in that, Stateman for me is now a proper rival to Constitution Hill. And if he does not turn up, at the start of the season, you're kind of thinking Constitution Hill is doing things so easily after Newcastle, obviously, in the fight in 5th. If he turns up 80% or 90%, he'll probably go win a champion hurdle. At this point in time, he's going to have to be on his A game, because Stateman, for me, he's the most uncomplicated horse in training. Stateman, that is. A flawless display of jumping. I don't know, you there actually running on champion hurdle day on the Sunday. But for me, I just loved everything about it. Loved the way he jumped, the turn of foot he showed on the level, 2 furlongs from home. So the turn in, he's actually won. He's pinged the second last, Stateman. And they couldn't lay a glove on him. And I just loved the way there wasn't one mistake. His whole round of jumping, there wasn't one mistake. He's gone and won to the line. And the scary thing with him is, it's actually good. There is going to be more to come from him. He's not. you're going to see a better statement again in the spring, I think. And obviously, you know, Honeysuckle, he's beaten Vauban by further than when he bet him the last time, so he's come forward for that run. I don't know what you think about Vauban. Honeysuckle, for me, you know, they've had her probably fully wound up for this. I mean, this was her day, wasn't it? She was coming here. She had to win to take her place in the champion hurdle. That's a whole different saga. We might have come to that at the end of the show. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they're going for the mayor's hurdle, personally. Coming on to Mighty Potter, Mr. Groome. I'm falling in love with this fella. You know, I loved him. He was on my versus to follow list at the start of the season. Backed him last year, of course, for the Supreme Novice Hurdle. This fella is really grown up. He's starting to really mature. I was against him after his down Royal run. I said, I'm not getting involved. I need to see him jumping better. And speaking to Davy Boland on the show, and he's a big Mighty Potter fan. No, he's very babyish when he's in a better race against a better quality of horse. We saw it at the Drinmore. It was like Buckaroo at one stage for Jack Kennedy, you know, but this was a completely polished performance. I mean, as counted, he make one mistake, Ronan, Mighty Potter. He's absolutely the scope he shows. I don't know what you think here, but he's the best sight of the entire weekend for me. And I wasn't there, but from the couch, was Mighty Potter winging the second last. I mean,
you'd love the way he put his head down.
Do you know what? Yeah, absolutely. But do you know what I loved about it was he settled in lovely in behind. He's always going at ease. You know, Galler de Manila's got a decent clip out in front. He's never going to stay there. It's too sharp, but he's tried to make it a good stamina test in front. Mighty Potter's in behind. He's just lobbing away, but he's actually jumped himself by default to the front. 5 out. And Davy takes a pull. The experience of Davy just to actually know, you're not going now, son. Get back in behind, and he reins it in. Second last, he just pings it, and he wins the race at the second last. The scope he shows, and as you said, you just love the way he lengthened in the straight after the last.
But he's like 2 lengths ahead at the last. Like the race is still on, and then the distance that he puts between the rest of them, and they've all finished a bunch in behind the Mullins quintet, because Sutton Warriors on each side of him, and he's come, you know, I think it's 8-9 lengths clear. You'd love the way it's actually joy to watch. Anyone go back and watch the race again and just look at Mighty Potter after the last, sticks the head down and bolts clear. Really impressive. And I actually say I was really impressed with it. And it was actually very enjoyable to watch live. Like everyone was on him, and you could just see him sprinting clear in the straight after the last. Very impressive. Gordon out in the middle of the track as usual. So yeah, it was good.
But Gordon said, and I know Gordon is very, you know, Gordon obviously, you know, when he says a race, I mean, that's the target and that's it. He's very transparent that way. He said it's the perfect race from the Turners. It absolutely is. And, you know, he's handled the undulations that put us down last season. Obviously, that was going right-handed. I don't buy into this thing, you know, that he's not going to get around Cheltenham, that the track isn't going to suit him, etc., etc. Look at last year's run, the Supreme. For me, he jumps well enough now. He's completely grown up, and he's done things the hard way a couple of occasions now. Well, you know, if there's a horse actually can lead him to the last, it'd be perfect. But I'm not sure there will be in a Turners. This could be an impressive performance. I don't see anything in there. Appreciate it, stepping up and trip wouldn't scare me. This horse for me is going to go and win the Turners. I think he's a very strong favourite now. And it adds a 6-4. I think he is at BOYLESPORTS. For me, it was a 5-star performance from
Basil. What about Banbridge?
Banbridge.
Because you're coming on to him. You're coming on to him now. So you mentioned him in the El Fabiolo race. You know, you're coming on to El Fabiolo now. So, but I thought he ran a lovely trial for the Turners.
Oh, he absolutely did. I think you're onto one there, Mr. Groome. I think it was your last selection before you went skiing, Banbridge. Outpaced, obviously, on better grounds in the Turners. I think it is going to. I just couldn't see him beating. I couldn't see him beating Mighty Potter, but he's a model to place, isn't he?
I think he's got a chance. I think he's got a chance. You know, he's jumping around the course on the new course again. As much as I love Mighty Potter, I think this is a nice horse. Banbridge got the course form in the book, so I think he's live.
Has one in the new course. For me, I would be very much in the Mighty Potter camp, but I'm sure you're happy. 16-1 into what now? 5-1 with BOYLESPORTS for the
very much so. I'll come on to it later, but you know, my portfolio has gone from an absolute shit show to, you know, looking at least like the semblance of something that looks like a decent effort. So delighted with that in the last 2 weeks. So
You've ran a bit of an il était temps race, haven't you? Il était temps. Basically, you're out the back, been scrubbed along, clattering hurdles, and suddenly down there at the bridle, and you're almost heading me now at this stage after the weekend. So we'll come on to portfolios. We will look at them. El Fabiolo, as you mentioned, there's a lot of people, giving this horse, I think, a little bit more credit than he deserves. It was a massive performance. Obviously, the horse is in behind. You're looking at before the race, strongest race of the weekend. The Irish Arkle, Dysart Dynamo, El Fabiolo. You've Ben, as you mentioned. You've all, obviously the quality of the race beforehand looked the race of the weekend. So for him to go and win as impressive as he did, albeit now Darragh Jacobs, he didn't spare him, did he? After the last, he's been really shoved out towards the line. Has he had a hard race? That looked like a tough race. And for me, stamina has won the day here. He was always a horse at the start of the season that I was looking at, as potentially a 2.5 mile horse. Lots of people had him on their Arkle list, but I was thinking, and then when he jumped the way he did at Fairyhouse on his chasing debut, I definitely thought this was a horse maybe for Willie to move up and trip towards something like a Turner's. I suppose they all count on the Turner's, Appreciated and El Fabiolo. I thought Dysart Dynamo, no excuses for him really. I was very disappointed. I mean, he's had his own way in front. He's canny danny on board. He's jumping fences. Yeah.
Can I come in on quickly on that? Sorry to interrupt you, but I actually hold a different view with Dysart Dynamo. I think he's live in the Arkle here. And I completely agree with what you said with Al Fabiolo. He's stayed. Stamina's nearly won him the day there. And Ruby Walsh talked about that before last week as well, going into that 2-1 around Leopardstown. You need a horse that stays strongly. And he often thinks that a horse that stays 2-1 ends up going 2.5 at Cheltenham. Dysart Dynamo around Cheltenham over, it's nearly 2 furlongs shorter. 1.7 mile, tighter track.
Of course.
He's 10-1 standout with BOYLESPORTS. 7-1 nearly everywhere else. 6-1 even. So I'm saying, that is not a bad price at all. I think that's live. Going from the front, shorter trip, tighter track, suit a front runner. I think he's live. I think he could get these under pressure coming down the hill.
I was looking at this portfolio this morning. It was actually funny. I was actually going to mention that no excuses for him on the day, but going forward, Dysart Dynamo. I'm trying to find. You always do this when you put up a horse, and you look at it. You always find an angle to think, do I put it in the bin, or is there hope for this? Is there hope for this selection? And the only thing I could come down on is exactly as you said, just the track, the undulations, from the front. Obviously a big galloping track, I think really suited El Fabiolo. He's a big galloper, travelled beautifully early in the race. He's absolutely ploughed the fourth blast out of it. He was sketchy at 1 or 2 early in the contest. He's slow at his fences. I don't think the Arkle on, as you mentioned, on a tighter track on the old course at Cheltenham is going to play to his strengths. I think if it was to have a match bet between John Bon or El Fabiolo at this stage, I'd be certainly with John Bon.
Me too.
Dynamo, maybe the fly in the ointment if he's not going to step up in trip, and maybe the track in Cheltenham will actually suit him after all. So he's looking more grown up as well. He's not looking as keen and unsteady early in the race, isn't he? Not obviously at Cheltenham last year he was a lunatic at the start, but he's looking a little bit more grown up, and maybe he might strip that bit fitter. Maybe he took a blow. I don't know. I wasn't, but I did. Did you hear anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I was reading Patrick's thing today in the Post, and he said they had to get a new rider for him at Christmas because he just the girl who was riding him just couldn't ride him anymore. He was too strong, or they reckon he was too strong. So he's didn't run much over hurdles last season, so he likely enough raced.
So where have I doubted him? Just on the star rating, it was a very, very good performance on the day. Full value for the win. 4-star for me, simply as jumping. That's where we've docked him, Mr. Groome, the star. I mean, I don't think you can jump like that and win an Arkle personally.
Yeah, I mean, that the mistake will get more emphasised at Cheltenham, won't it? You got away with it at Leopardstown, jumping at Cheltenham, possibly. You probably won't go faster at Cheltenham, but I think mistakes get are emphasised more at Cheltenham when track position and stuff like that. If you made a mistake at the wrong time, it could be crucial there. So yeah, I agree with that.
Ante-Post. I don't know your thoughts on this. I've given him a 3 because I think he's simply just picking up the pieces. And obviously people are going to mention times of champion hurdles and times as a priest. For me, it was just a very, very muddling race. To see obviously what happened in the early stages, facile, vague and high definition, and it was set up for something to come from off the pace. They finished drunk. And I think where they were quickening in the champion hurdle, Verstappen was actually quickening in the champion hurdle. Ante-Post was actually just, he wasn't quickening. He was just, going at the same. He just picked up the pieces. That's what it looked like to me. Didn't exactly look like he quickened from the back of. They didn't jump the second last, of course. But for me, I wouldn't be trusting this form, and I think it's a very, very sharp price about Ante-Post. I wouldn't be interested in him whatsoever for Supreme at his current price. Would you?
Well, Jesus, well, I'd take him ahead of Facile Vega anyway.
What did you make of it?
Willie's come out today. I don't know if you've seen it, Willie. Just before
I've seen it.
Yeah, he came out. Yeah, so he said he was lame, or found him to be lame. So at least that kind of explains the performance a bit from Facile Vega, because I wasn't having it that he was just found out by the pace, because he went out like a light, and Ante-Post has been able to settle off that pace, come through and won by 9 lengths in a good race. Still a good race, even though Facile Vega's bombed. He's running monster time, faster than State Man. I think I wouldn't underestimate him now, I have to say.
What I didn't like, we mentioned the early pace. As fast as they were early, he was actually the keenest to the whole lot of them, sitting in behind, watching it back. He's clattered 1 or 2 hurdles early. I think I don't think his jumping is going to be good enough to win a Supreme Novices hurdle. And I think last year that's what caught him out as well. I mean, there's no doubt the horse is a massive engine. In a Supreme Novices hurdle, for me, he's not the idea of the winner. Onto the Facile Vega stuff and Willie's comments afterwards. Crazy stuff. I couldn't believe what I was listening to. What did Paul do to Willie Mullins? That's the question I don't want to ask. It was, but like in fairness, getting locked in a battle with high definition, it was just, you could just see it happening. Would I be interested in backing Facile Vega now for Supreme Novices? Well, I wasn't interested in backing him before, so I'm definitely not interested in it now. It's back to the drawing board for him, and interesting comments that obviously he was lame as well. So maybe that's the reason for him ending up or going out like a light. Ronan Groome, it's time for a tracker horse. And then we're going to come on and handle, of course, the big question and portfolio spotlight before giving our selections. So, Mr. Groome, it is the tracker horse, and it's over to you.
Download the BOYLESPORTS app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. BOYLESPORTS, this is betting.
Sorry, I jumped the gun there. Yes, just a quick one. Keep an eye on a horse called that Lady in Red for the main man I mentioned at the top of the show, Barry Connell. He trains this horse, or this mare, for his son Rory. He was half fancying it on luck on Sunday before it ran in the Paddy Mullins Mare's handicap hurdle. Thought it could run well. It wanted to get a run in it before, didn't have the chance. So she was coming off a bit of a break. Got absolutely ploughed out of it from another horse falling in front of her at the very early stage. I think it was the first flight, and still ran on for 8th. There's definitely a good mare's handicap hurdle, or just open race handicap hurdle in her, I think. She's probably lowly enough rated that she'd be getting into the good races, but she could win, and I think, and definitely go to something like Punchestown or Fairyhouse after that. Thought she was a big eye catcher the way she ran on late in the day. So the horse called That Lady in Red.
Interesting. Obviously, the race won by Gaelic Warrior, the second place horse, actually won it down Royal earlier on in the season. Nibiru was it was 3.5 lengths second to Gaelic Warrior off a mark of 122. It was a big odds as well, 40-1. I couldn't believe this horse was 40-1. John Breslin, Leopard DRF, those big festivals. Nibiru could be well handicapped, I reckon, for maybe one of the. We'll be talking maybe Fairyhouse or Punchestown later on in the season. Nibiru.
Yeah, I thought it was Tudor City coming through there for a second when he was stayed on.
So well through the race, and
yeah.
I couldn't believe it was 40-1 before the race, and when I saw it run the way it did, I thought it was just in the big festivals, maybe later on in the season. back on home soil. Newbrew could be worth having a look at in one of those, I suppose, 2 mile handicap hurdles. So that's my tracker horse into the mix. Actually, just to mention very quickly for Velvet Elvis today. Got his head in front. Very, very interesting. Back at Fairyhouse. Could we see him back at Fairyhouse for an Irish National, Mr. Groome? We put up Max Flamingo this time last year. Maybe Velvet Elvis. Maybe the Tri-Town wasn't the plan. Maybe it's the Irish National, round 2.
Possibly, yeah. There's a few national hopes in that race. Cape Gentleman was in the 4th there. So, yeah, could be interesting.
I just thought it was interesting to see him get back. A complete change in form, wasn't it, from Velvet Elvis? There's lots more to come from him, I reckon, in long-distance handicap chases for Tom Gibney. Of course, a race that he's won before with Leading the Barney, the Irish National. So keep him on the short list. Ronan Groome, right, it's time to tackle the big question, and then we're going to have a look at a portfolio.
Boyle Sports has it all. Money back meetings every day. UK and Irish racing live streaming, extra places and money back all losers offers, and a bet 10 get 40 welcome offer. Boyle Sports, this is betting.
The big question, Simon O'Neill, big Willie Mullins fan. Willie Mullins, or no, it's not Willie Mullins, it's Will Mullins. More winners in his novice horses or his other horses at the Cheltenham Festival. I thought that's a really good question. It's very interesting. I suppose taking the hurdlers first of all, and then we'll look at chasers rolling. Novice hurdlers, Willie Mullins, will he win a novice hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival this season? And if he does, what do you think is his best chance right now? How many novice hurdles would he win?
Grade 1s, I guess.
Correct.
Like he would have been a bit more confident before the weekend, I guess. Fast Vega was odds on, but like he's stacked, isn't he, Willie, in each race? Like he's got so many darts to fire, like Il Tomp and Gaelic Warrior and Impere Pass. Yeah. But no real outstanding one, I guess. Champ.ie has got a chance, but you wouldn't pin all your hopes on him. You wouldn't say he's a good thing.
Lots of chances, but as you said, no real standout one now. But is Ashrow Diamond his best chance of a novice winner at the Cheltenham Festival?
Yeah, well, I'd probably say she's got a very good chance. I think she should probably be favoured for the Mayor's novice. I guess if you're counting novice, if you're saying novice, maybe does he count the bumper in that? Because it's, for me, would have a reasonably good chance in the bumper, and obviously the Triumph hurdle is juvenile as a guess, but he might count that as a novice as well in one way. And Willie will definitely win the Triumph, I think. Stacked in that division, and obviously come on to that in a bit, because I think I have a strong enough opinion on the Gala Marceau Lossy Mate kind of clash at Cheltenham, so we'll save that one for later. But yeah, I'd say it'd be half and half. Willie will definitely strike it with a few novices, but you'd be looking at the likes of I suppose Allegory Devassi as well to mention.
Well, let's call it. Let's put a number on it, right? Let's agree. So novice hurdle winners, Ronan Groome, and don't include bumpers or juveniles. Novice hurdle winners this season at the Cheltenham Festival. What would you say the spread is? How many will he have?
I'd say 1.
You say he'll have 1. I would probably say the same. At this current moment in time, I would say Willie Mullins will have 1 novice hurdle winner. Let's go and have a look at the chasers then, because obviously you've mentioned Allegory Devassi. She is a novice. That's not a novice race. So let's stick novice chases. Arkle, Turners, and Brown Advisory. How many winners will he have?
2, 1 to 2. I'd say maybe he might have 2. I think he's got a reasonable chance.
This question is actually good this season. I'm going to say 1. I'm going to say 1, and I'm going to say 1. So I'm going to say that's 2 versus the remainder, which would be, I mean, for me, Champion Chase and Ergamy wins that. And I'm not taking the piss. I'm being deadly serious. And Ergamy wins the Champion Chase. Champion Hurdle, not so sure. Stairs Hurdle, not so sure. And then you have, obviously, Gold Cup Galloping, Deschamps. Would he win 2 in that department? And then what handicaps does he pick up and elsewhere? For me, I would say he will win. He will have more winners with his other horses at the Cheltenham Festival this season than his novices, for me. Would you agree?
I would think so, yeah. I think it looked a lot better for him, or a lot stronger for him with Fast and Vague, obviously propping that up. But yeah, I would say he'll have more open winners than novice winners, yeah.
Interesting to price that up. You might ask BOYLESPORTS to price that up for you, Mr. Simon O'Neill. Let us know your opinion down below as well. And just looking at the second question, what do you think of this one? Rob the Mongoose. I'm almost 100% sure the Mongoose is from Bagnallstown, but not entirely sure who this is. But let us know, Mongoose. Who are you? Marie's Rock in the Mares Are the Stairs. Personally, I think she would dot up in the stairs. We spoke about this for weeks upon end, how open the stairs hurdle looks. I've put up Ashdale Bob, disappointed to see him not in the Boyne hurdle. Don't have any updates on that, Mr. Groome. He has fairly drifted out on the exchanges as well for stairs hurdle. But back to Marie's Rock. I mean, Home by the Lead to You, Poop, has put his foot forward, of course, in the Galmoy. And, of course, Blazing Cal also entered by Charles Burns this weekend for the Boyne hurdle. So, I suppose thoughts on, I mean, where would you like to see Marie's Rock run? I mean, the Mayor's Hurdle now. Because Honeysuckle, I mean, I've made my opinion known on Honeysuckle, right? I think it's a big ask for it to go back to another Cheltenham Festival and win it in a race as competitive as this. At the age of 9. Off the back of a really hard race, of course, in the Irish Champion Hurdle.
Yeah.
Looking at Marie's Rock, where would you run her? And what's your thoughts on this question?
I think it's a very good question. I would run her in the stairs. Because you look at the mares now, right? So Marie's Rock has won it already, so they've got their kick out of the race early. And I know people say it's all about winning races at Cheltenham Festival, but she's won the Mares Hurdle already. Let's have a bit of sporting. We want owners to be as sporting as possible, right? But even logic would say, look at the mares now. Look, you're looking at Honeysuckle, Epitome, Brandy Love, Leva and Ball, Echoes and Rain. She wears it well. Queensbrook, Tell Me Something Girl. Like, that is competitive. That is really, really competitive. You're going like 7-8 horses under 10-1. Like, that's going to be, and it's going to be a big field. You know, it's going to need Luck and Running. Like, she got Luck and Running last year. Like, Echoes and Rain got milled by that Indefatigable Falling, and Tell Me Something Girl got brought down as well. Like, that could happen again. It's going to be a big field because.
And we all know, let's face it. When the rain comes, Love Envoy just wins.
But you can make a case for Echoes and Rain as much as Love Envoy as well. Like, it's a good, really good competitive race. If they went for the stairs, like, she's roughly the same price, she's going to get £7 in a race that, like, look at it this year, the stairs. Like, I mean, are we completely convinced by Tiupu? He looks like a coming horse.
She wasn't stopping in the Relkill. She was not stopping in the Relkill.
Yeah, stayed on wrong. She gets £7, and the £7 for a good mare is huge. Honeysuckle has shown that time and time again. Like, Blazing Cal, I do not understand the fascination with Blazing Cal. Like, the horse is rated. The horse is rated 152. It should be going for the pertemps, never mind the stairs. Like, it's bizarre. Home by the Lee, look, he's good. He's probably a bit underrated. He's solid. Ran well in the race last season. Is he a world beater? Absolutely.
Very good in the race. I'd agree. I think that's the conclusion. Jury decides. You're 100% right, Ronan Groome. Run Marie's Rock.
Go for the stairs. Go for the big feature race on the Thursday.
Tom Tinsley, we're going to take a look at your portfolio after the break.
Download the BOYLESPORTS app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. BOYLESPORTS, this is betting.
Go for the stairs is the word of Mr. Groome and Barry Doyle in relation to Marie's Rock. Tom Tinsley. Tom, let us know where you're from. I'd imagine somewhere in the UK with a name like Tinsley. Brandy Love. 5-1 for the Mayor's Hurdle. Another one that we didn't even mention for the Mayor's Hurdle. Looks competitive. I'm not sure I'd call that value though, Mr. Groome, would you?
You know what? She could be anything. Just another one that could just do anything in the mares. Like, she could be a star, really. Ideally, I'd like to see her get a run. They might run her on the Corvega, I think, coming up later in the month. But yeah, like, it's a lot. The race looks a lot more competitive than it did when Tom put that out at the start of the season, I'd say.
Brandy love. Right. Brandy. Jerry Calam. Brown Advisory, 25-1. That is an absolute corker. 9-4 now, Mr. Groome. And Jerry Calam, look, if we're playing for rain in the early stages, I'd love buckets of rain at the Cheltenham Festival. Served me good last year, Ronan Groome, as I was rolling around in me Energamine scarf. Jerry Calam, if there's rain, that's going to be very hard to beat. And look, as you mentioned, like, how ground dependent is he? If wants a good safe ground, 25-1, Jerry Calam unbeaten over fences, jumps like a stag.
It's a fabulous bet. Great
bet.
Just congratulations to you, Tom. You've outdone yourself there. Amazing stuff. 25-1 into the 9-4. That's what you want. That's what we're all aiming for, isn't it, in these Ante-Post?
Yeah, absolutely. What we're not looking for is him to come and back that up at Grange Clare West and the Albert Bart that was never even going to run in the race. 16-1. That's out with the washing, Mr. Tom Tilsley. Sir Gerhard in the Turners at 7-1. Sure, look, he's going for the Brown Advisory now. Mullins bingo. There you go. What can you do? And would you give him a chance in the Brown Advisory?
Off the back of one run, I'm not sure.
It wouldn't be your style anyway.
A random one, to be honest. Just one run and into there for 3 miles for the first time, so I'm not sure.
Conflated Ryanair chase 25-1. I think when you were down at Gordon's, what's the update there?
He's gone for the Gold Cup, I'm afraid, so that's another one gone.
Arkle 8-1 appreciated. I'd imagine they're going to go up in trips, so another slip in the bin, I reckon. And wouldn't win Arkle anyway. He'd have to start now. Xander Clegane, 16-1 for the Albert Bartlett. Interesting listening to Davy talking about, Xander Clegane coming into the DRF. Like, don't be disappointed if this horse gets beat at the DRF. Cheltenham is going to really suit this horse in terms of a track. Obviously, he hasn't totally disgraced himself in the bumper there last season. But Xander Clegane, 16-1. Look, that's fair. It's a wide open race. And I thought he's run a good race in Nathaniel Lacey. A pre-tired Ronan Groome. We didn't see him. He's going there fresh, 9-1 for the Gold Cup. You have him in your portfolio. So I'd imagine you think that's value.
Yeah, 9-1 I think is a fair price for sure. Ideally we would have liked to have seen him. I put mine in just before he was a non-runner at Christmas, so I was hoping I'd see him there. But if he ran to the same standard he did in the race last season, it'd be very hard to beat again. That's a big if.
Off the back of the last honeysuckle, and it's Classical Dream T.U.P. on the near side.
You're in full working order now, Basil, anyway.
Well, talk to me about T.U.P., please. Never mind, Jerry.
Yeah, look, it's great. What price did you get T.U.P.? I'm just trying to look. 12-1. Yeah, fabulous work. I think he's a bit flaky at the price he is now. I wouldn't be a big fan of the price he is now, but obviously 12-1 is a fine price. And Gordon was, said trying to make him into a 2-miler last season, didn't have the speed, got taken off his feet in the champion hurdle. 2.5 miles this season, you saw a different horse, and then up to 3 miles now. I'm not actually convinced he's fully proved himself over 3 miles, given how slowly run that Galway was. I mean, he might have just used the speed later on there, but definitely he's got to be a big player in the stairs.
Again, soft ground, super chance. Champ.ie Ballymore, 15-2. I suppose, where do you put that Champ.ie now? I suppose the Ballymore probably does look the obvious. I personally would love to see him in an Albert Bartlett, but that's just me. 15-2 for the Ballymore. You've him in the team sheet. I'd imagine you think that's good. It's for me 25-1 for the bumper. It's probably not something you're going to have a major opinion on, but what did you think of his display at Navan? Or did you we in the car on the way home at that stage?
Yeah, it's for me. Yeah, I think reading a few things on the time analysis and stuff, it seems to be one of the better bumper performances of the season. So yeah, I don't.
Well, with Queen's Gamble now, 25-1. Obviously, you've got the value there, Tom. And with Queen's Gamble, of course, bombing out during the week. Of course, yesterday at Market Raise, and I'm sure you're quite happy on that slip. 25-1, an absolute corker along with Jerry Calam. And there's some solid ones in there with Sander Clegane, Aplutar, Tiupu, 12-1. I think that's a decent looking portfolio. Gallard de Menil, 6-1 for the Brown Advisory. This horse doesn't like to get his head in front too often, but it looks wide open, 6-1. I'm sure they're going to go for this race now, are they?
I wouldn't be sure. I think he's still a live chance that he could go for the National Hunt Chase.
Would Ramillies there as well?
Yeah, they could do a switcheroo, I guess. They could go Ramillies the other race easily. Yeah, I wouldn't be absolutely cast iron he goes for the Brown Advisory.
Would now with Sir Gerhard potentially, being aimed at the Brown Advisory, maybe Willie does feel as though he has a strong contender for that, and Galad Medil takes his place. That's when he's at the top of the market, of course, for the National Hunt Chase. I'm sure Patrick is going to want that. Ronan Groome, that was the portfolio spotlight very, very quickly. But I'm going to flash up our portfolios because we haven't done this in a while, and we're going to run through it. Lots has developed, shall we say. Dysart Dynamo, 12-1 for the Arkle. That's still alive in my view. Scarlet and Dove, 10-1 for the Mayor's Chase. Still very much alive. Statler again, 20-1. Getting the value on these. Lucia, are we going to see her one more time? She's 6-1 for the Mares. That's value. Chemical Energy did disappoint me now, I must say. I'm just be interested. He's 9-1 in the portfolio. Still available at that sort of price. I think it's 8-1. Lossymount, 7-1. 7-2. She'll win the Triumph Hurdle, I think. 18-1 about Blue Owl for the Ryanair Chase. They probably have to go this route now. That looks like good value. We've all been caught completely disappointed. I mean, I actually backed him. I thought he was going to go and win the Nathaniel Lacey. That's disappointing. Love Envoy, 11-2 for the Mayor's Hurdle. Competitive. I think she's a right chance. Softer the ground, the better. Ashdale Bob, I'm not sure what's going on there because obviously the Boyne Hurdles this weekend. He's not entered. I was hoping it would be. Did it go there fresh? Protectorat at odds of 10-1. That's disappointing. Protectorat ran as flat as he did, but the skeleton seemed quite positive. The vibes are good, and you're going to see a different horse in the Gold Cup. And I mean, if you see that same horse as we saw at Haydock, Roland, you weren't on the show when I put him up, but I wanted to get 2 in for the Gold Cup. Off the back of the fact that I'm still yet waiting to see Will Gallop and the Shank get 3 mile 2 furlong at Cheltenham on what is the new course. So I think he is short for thinking the market even still. And Protectorat, look, he's kind of disappointed, but he's probably still alive somewhat. Just looking at Davy's selections down the bottom, Sancro, obviously that's had a setback, 25-1 for the cross country chase. Xander Clegane, 16-1 for the Albert Bartlett, and HMS Seahorse, 14-1 for the Coral Cup. Ronan Groome, that was Davy's selections in your absence. Yours is flashing down the bottom there at the moment. Do you want to run through them very, very quickly? In fact, it's back to mine, but your selection, week 1, Gentleman to Me.
Download the BoyleSports app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. BoyleSports, this is betting.
And Ronan Groome, talk us through yours.
Yes, week 1, Gentleman to Me. The gentleman is live again. So 14-1 about him, not looking too shabby now, but at least going to get a run for money if he does show up in the race. Beauport, unfortunately, week 2 is a dud. Echoes and Rain, she's alive. I thought she did it very nicely at Nace the last day. If I was having a bet in the race now, 9-1 about her in the Mayor's Hurdle would still appeal to me. So I've got 14s there. It's not too bad. 3 Stripe Life in week 4. He's dead. Astro Diamond, that's alive in the Mayor's Novice. As I said to you earlier in the podcast, I think she should be favoured over Richie. I think she's done a lot more than that. Nicky Henderson's Mayor's only ran once. Arctic Brazil, yeah, that was a dud as well. Unfortunately for the Supreme, ran most of the race in the Talworth. Probably better than that, but it's just one of those things where a horse runs badly and your season is out of kilter altogether. So we might see the best of him next year. Absolute Tard, we talked about him already. 9-1 for the Gold Cup is okay. Classical Dream, if he runs in the Stairs, I think he'll go off at least second favourite. and Willie was kind of half positive there reading his comments today. Still a race against time to get him back. But if he does, it's a double fold, because I think that's what he needs. He needs a break. So missing the race, at Christmas and the Galway and all that would be a positive for him. 3-cart Bragg, I love this horse now. 12-1 for the Albert Bartlett. I think he is crying out for the 3-mile trip. I love the way he did it the last day as well. I think that's a live one. Champ.ie, I think, is live in the Ballymore. I could see him going off a lot shorter than 15-2. I think he is at the moment. That was a nice enhancement from Boyles. I think he's live in an open race. And Banbridge is probably Banbridge is probably my best bet on the coupon, 16-1. I think he's in and around a 9-2 shot now with Boyles. And I do give him a live chance against the Potter, as much as I am a big fan of Mighty Potter. I think he's live on the new car. So not looking too badly. For what was genuinely a shit show for the first 10 weeks is actually coming around to looks like something like a half decent effort. So pleased with how the last 2 weeks have gone.
Yeah, Echoes and Rain at the time when she won, I'm thinking, wow, that is obviously lots has happened since, lots has developed, the race has become so much more stronger. But I think give her a live chance, Echoes and Rain. Ashrow Diamond, I think your portfolio is shaping up quite nice. Please let us know who was the better portfolio. Mine took a couple of hammer blows, but I would say it's pretty even enough. Ronan Groome, they're going to put you ahead of me in terms of your portfolio. It's not going to be very much, or vice versa. Let us know down below. It's well in the balance, I think, Mr. Groome.
Yeah, it's nip and tuck now. Between the two of us, we need a few better options as well, to be honest. So
absolutely, we do. I think I'd agree with you. So, with that in mind, Mr. Groome, you're going to come back and you're going to tell us your week 13 Ante-Post Selection, and I do believe as well you owe another selection as well. So I think you're one behind in terms of selection. So I might get you to throw 2 into the mix next week, but you'll be back with this week's selection.
Boyle Sports has it all. Money back meetings every day. UK and Irish racing live streaming. Extra places and money back all losers offers. And a bet 10 get 40 welcome offer. Boyle Sports, this is betting.
And when I think of it, Ronan Groome, when I think of it, heading into the DRF, I was blazing a trail. Not anymore.
What I learned last year is to not count any chickens at all. So we'll see how it is at the end of the day on Friday next March 17th or 18th or whatever it is. But our eagle-eyed viewers or keen listeners will have noticed that we left out one Grade 1 from the Dublin Racing Festival, and that was the Gala Marceau Spring Juvenile Hurdle. And as they passed the line, I said to myself straight away, this is going to be the type of horse I back, because I must have heard about 3 different people from 3 different friend groups or whatever, or just people standing beside me go, yeah, lost him out. Oh, she'll turn the form around in Cheltenham. No problem. Absolutely. You can see what's happened. Oh, she'll turn the form around. No problem. And it's just not that clear cut. Like, these are the types of horses that get overbet day in, day out. The unlucky loser, something's happened to them during the race. They made a mistake or something, like what happened to Lassie Mouth. Everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon. Nobody wants to take the winner for granted, or what they've done, or analyse what they've done properly. But Gala Marceau, watched the race again. She was keen through the early stages. It's only her second run in the country, second run for Willie Mullins. Keen through the early stages. Fair enough, she has prime position in the race. She's given a good ride by Danny, the favourite. Of course, she's been unlucky. She's got shuffled back at a crucial time, had to come around the outside. I'm not saying anything, but say the favourite did win, how much was she actually going to win by? There was absolutely no question in my mind that Gala Marceau would definitely have closed the gap from the 7 lengths that she was beaten at Christmas. And the pair of them, right?
That's interesting.
Like, the pair, like, what would it have been? Like, what do you, if you put a figure on what Lassie Mouth lost, 5-6 lengths, like, it definitely would have closed the gap. So
yeah, okay, well, I'll let you go on and finish off.
Like, right, so the other point I just want to make is they're juvenile hurdlers. Like, the bout of improvement that they're open to is huge. So for you to take the shorter price about Lassie Mouth, has had 3 runs, Gala Marceau's had 2 runs, like, she's improved, significantly improved from her first run, which was a brilliant run behind Lossie Mount. When Lossie Mount had the run on her side, she had the race fitness and experience on her side. Like Gala Marceau has, you know, she's only had the 2 runs. Like she's open to further improvement than Lossie Mount would be technically, but both of them are open to any amount of improvement. So I'd much rather take the bigger price about Gala Marceau confirming the form. The Spring Juvenile is always a good kind of trend race for the Triumph Hurdle. So Blood Destiny's obviously a player in the race as well. Like he's impressed more on the clock than the other 2. But this Gala Marceau, I give her a reasonably good chance that she can confirm the form with Lossie Mount at Cheltenham. And I think BOYLESPORTS, we have 5-1. They're you know, already joint best on the market for her. Going to get that enhanced, which is going to be good. So I wanted to get her on side. Gala Marceau for the Triumph Hurdle.
Yeah, 6-1 with BOYLESPORTS. So is available from 8:30 is the scheduled published time on Wednesday evening, the 8th, and it will be available right up until tomorrow evening. So yeah, 6-1, Gala Marceau. Mr. Groome, I would have, look, I just thought everything went against Lossie Mount. I think I hear what you're saying, that sometimes these horses can get overbet, etc., etc. I just think Lossie Mount's a better horse. I think it's probably interesting hearing Woody Mullen's comment after the race, just speaking about Lossie Mount. You know, he was worried, did she get a hard race trying to make up that type of ground? And obviously, juveniles holding their form, that always is a worry. And Gala Marceau, yeah, as you mentioned, you know, she probably has come forward absolutely from the first run. I thought it was a big effort from Lossie Mount to finish where she did, considering all went wrong. And I just think she's a better mare, and I think given more of a forward ride in the Triumph, she would certainly be the one I would be still siding with. But no doubt about it, Willie Mullins. I mean, it looks at the moment like he could have the 1, 2, 3 in the Triumph. You know, he's obviously head and shoulders above the rest in terms of his quality going into that race. So Gala Marceau, obvious chance, obviously, and does Danny retain the ride? Probably does. So interesting, Mr. Groome. I'm going to go with my first handicap selection of the series. Would you believe it? I'm starting to up the ante now. Excuse the pun. And Pat Dodo in the centre. 18-1, Pat Doyle for the County Hurdle. Lots has been spoken about it, you know, about novices or horses needing 4 runs to get into handicaps. He's had the 4 runs now, so he qualifies. The Irish have absolutely farmed the County Hurdle in the last 15 to 20 years. I think they've won 9 of the last 15, and if it wasn't for Dan Skelton, how many more would they have? So they have a really good record in the race, in the County Hurdle. He's 2 wins from 4. Really, I was gutted to see this horse, you know, pull up in the Royal Bond, and I don't think that was his true running. Nothing came to light. The vet reports reported nothing. It was just a really strange run. He's travelled into the race really well. That's obviously in graded company on his second start over hurdles. He won a bumper, obviously, at Punchestown. He was in our horses to follow. I think this horse is going to be a graded horse before the end of the season over hurdles. I think he could be well handicapped. He's been given an Irish mark of 138 after his victory at Navan. So he's 2 from 4 over hurdles. What I love about this horse is he's won at Galway, coming up that stiff hill at Galway, and he's won at Navan. And we've mentioned this on this show a couple of times. Horses that win at Navan, you just love them going to Cheltenham. This horse has plenty of pace. Like his best runs, he loves being held up. This horse, he's a non-complicated horse. He travels lovely through his races. It's interesting, Gavin's comments after he won at Navan, down in class. Obviously ran at Christmas behind Facile Vega. Never got into the race. But this was the real Pat Doro I think we were starting to see at Navan last time. Where he beat If I Were a Rich Man back in second. Pat Doro, yeah, look, he's given an Irish mark of 138. The British tax, what will that be, Mr. Groome? Be up
144, I'd say.
How many pounds do you think you get? £6? £4 or £5? £5,
£6. 143.
I don't know. I think it'd be harsh. It's Gavin Cromwell now. It's not Woody Mullins. You know, I think no disrespect to Gavin Cromwell, but I don't think, you know, if you got look, Stateman won this race last season of 141. It obviously this race has lended itself to, you know, more unexposed types in recent years. Stateman winning it last year. So, if he comes out in the low 140s, he's going to carry what Statement won this last year, off 141, carried 11 stone 1. He's going to be held up. I think the new course, a strong staying 2 miles, we're travelling to the race. And, the way he won at Galway, the way he won at Navan, the way he hit the line last time. I think 18-1 is a cracking. There's much shorter out there at the moment. Gavin, straight away after the race, mentions, that they're going to go down the handicap route at Cheltenham. I have no reason to see why they go for anything like a Carl or a Martin Pipe. I think stick to 2 miles. And, we've mentioned rain a lot on this show. If rain did come, I think this will enhance his chances. It's good form on soft ground. So, just interesting. I just think it's a very big price. He's straight away after the line at Navan. I said County Hurdle. There we go. He's back. We're back in business. He was in a course, our jumpers to follow at the start of the year as a novice to follow for the year. I think this horse is quality graded, class, going to Cheltenham in a handicap. All aboard Pat Coro, Mr. Groome. Could you be having that?
Yeah, I can see the angle for sure. It's different this year, I guess, with the 4 runs needed. So I think you'll take out a lot of possible stateman types who only have the 3 runs that you can hide a certain amount of ability. With stateman, obviously he fell in his first run, so that was a help. So yeah, I could see where you're coming from for sure.
It'll be some Friday when Statler and Pat Doro double lands. There we go, 20-1 and 18-1. Please God.
Yeah. And then you wake up.
That's been an episode. I'm not sure if we've got this under the hour, Mr. Groome, but we had lots to digest. It was the return. We'll be back with weekend podcast very, very shortly as well. And portfolios is really getting exciting now, Mr. Groome. 5 weeks to go, and we might have some news on Cheltenham preview nights to follow.
Very much so.
Absolutely. Have a good weekend.
Bless.
Download the BoyleSports app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. BoyleSports, this is betting.
Inside the final 150 yards, this is a special year, and it's a hands full of grace. And it's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen by a romping 10-12.